Hey there funnel builders, Mike Killen here from sellyourservice.co.uk, and today I want to talk about a subject very close to my heart, which is choosing a niche for your marketing funnel business. Choosing a niche is something that all businesses either say they want to get into or do want to get into. Now, I want to preface this by saying we first of all have a webinar replay on choosing a niche, which I'll download below. Yes, you've got to sign up to it, but it's something like an hour's worth of content, so it's definitely worth your time kind of checking that out. I've also got a blog post, which I'll link below as well, which talks about 108 niches that marketing funnel businesses can become category kings in, which essentially is talking through the process of why selecting a niche is not as complicated as people think it is. It's also not as epiphany based. I think a lot of people seem to think that choosing a niche is something that sort of like magically appears out of nowhere and makes sense, whereas actually it's something you've got to work towards. If you want to check that out, it's sellyourservice.co.uk/108-niches, so 108-niches or 108-niches, but I'll link it below. The biggest problem that marketing funnel builders kind of have when it comes to choosing a niche is the dichotomy or the conflict between choosing a niche and going, yeah, I want to dominate this. Let's say I just want to create marketing funnels for outdoor furniture, or I just want to create marketing funnels for YouTube creators, or I just want to create funnels for information marketing businesses or accountants or whatever industry that they go after. And as soon as they start to think that, they immediately go, oh no, but I'm going to immediately start restricting my market, and I'll see fewer people, and I'll see fewer customers, and it'll be way harder for me to find customers. They really worry about narrowing down their market. The first thing to say is that we have found time and time again that by niching down and by being selective over your market, you are actually creating growth opportunities. We've said this time and time again. Businesses are defined by the customers they serve, not the products they make. Okay, so if you were to go after a particular market, you are better off and more likely to get results for that market rather than trying to find a product that suits all sorts of people. One of the biggest misconceptions I think people have is that choosing a niche necessarily relies on just going after a particular industry, and that I think is fundamentally wrong. The reason why people find it easier to go after an industry is because they can kind of categorize a group of people within that industry and then go, right, well, I want to go after them. So let's say that you say to yourself, right, I'm going to go after this particular niche, I'm going to go after an industry. You initially do have this, oh, am I narrowing down my market? Am I narrowing down my opportunities? First of all, I want to ask you, are you overworked now? Are you laden with leads now? Probably not. In that case, is reducing the amount of leads really going to make that much difference? So you decide to go after a particular industry, and then you realize that that industry doesn't have the revenue to support you. It doesn't have nearly enough customers in it. Or maybe you say, look, we're going to go after people in the manufacturing industry, or you go even more specific into a very specific part of manufacturing, like, garden furniture, for example, and you realize that actually there's just not enough demand or there's not enough revenue for them to spend money on you. And it kind of becomes a bit like, well, what's the point in going into a niche? That is the single biggest misconception I believe about going after a niche, is that it's not an industry. In fact, in my blog post, 108 niches, industry I think is one category out of 6 or 7 that we go through that you could absolutely destroy and dominate and completely become the niche master in with that does not an industry. For example, you could be create funnels for a very particular part of the process. Let's say, so we look at the whole marketing funnel, we have traffic on one side, but even that can be Facebook traffic, organic traffic, SEO, paid SEO, Google, Bing, Reddit, forum adverts, advertising. You know, there's so many different parts of the process, all the way through to squeeze pages. Do you want to have landing pages, content upgrade pages, remarketing towards content pages, content silos, from blog posts through to a landing page? There's so many parts of that process that you could say, I want to focus on this particular part of the deliverable. No matter what you choose, so there's parts of the process, that's one of them. For example, there's, I'm just scrolling through here, types of products. For example, you could say we work really well with subscription products or course products or products that are delivered next day, or upsell products. One of my good friends, he basically specializes of all businesses with home swimming pools, so swimming pools installed in the home. What he does is he sets up a very specific part of the process where once someone is sold a swimming pool, be it an actual proper underground built one, you know, or built into the ground, or kind of like a, you know, like a, they're like inflatable, but they cost like £2,000. So they're not like, you know, paddling pools or anything. They're pretty weighty. What he does is set up automation and follow-up for things like chlorine, chemicals, cleaning, upselling new pumps. Hey, Coco. Upselling new pumps, all these types of upsell and cross-sell products. No one's focusing on me, are they? They're all going to focus on the dog. All these different types of products that go through a particular part of the process after buying that core product. So that's something that he's gone after. When I spoke to him about that, I said, why this area? And it was really interesting because he actually didn't have any experience in that. He just saw that that was a part of the business that he really liked the idea of working on. Upselling and cross-selling and continuation selling of products after buying a core product. He said he knows he's working with people who are already customers. They've already bought the pool. So if he can help businesses automate that sales process past the initial core product, he knows that his conversion rate is going to be higher and it's much easier to sell a product to someone who's already bought. So that was really interesting to me that he went after that particular area. And I was like, well, how did you know it was going to work? And he said, I didn't. And this was kind of a light bulb moment for me, was understanding that just because you go after a niche doesn't mean your sales are going to skyrocket. What tends to happen, he said, is when you go after a particular niche or a particular market, it's critical that you stick to that market and stick to that niche and continue to build your authority and build your presence in that niche. And that's through creating content, becoming an authority, you know, interviewing people. And he said he knows that his particular method of generating sales and building funnels probably suit a lot of different products. He's also kind of toyed with the idea of doing it for gym equipment and for things like lawn care, because he knows that once you've got that core product, that core customer, it's easy to continue selling them products, and that's something he's really good at. But he said you've got to understand that while you know that you could help so many different types of businesses, hundreds, thousands of different types of businesses, you have to go after one and pick one core type of business. Here's what's really interesting. Once he chose that particular area, and it wasn't actually the industry he went after first, his core part of the process was upselling to new products, like product add-ons and continuation products, subscription products. That was kind of his area. And he worked backwards and went, well, what types of products and services use that part of the process? Architects, for example, have very, very few returning and recurring customers. They typically need to continue getting projects in. It's a lot about networks and networking funnels and generating referrals. Whereas he thought, if I need to sell a smaller product like chlorine or chemicals or weights or whatever it is, or timers and stuff, or lawn care, they have to have previously bought this bigger piece of content, right? This bigger product. And he thought, well, who has those types of products? Again, construction, like conservatory building and stuff, double glazed windows, there's not a huge amount of recurring revenue you can get from those products and from those customers. He said, but pools have a really good way of being able to generate recurring revenue. So he thought about a part of the process that he wants to dominate and then worked backwards to find that. What he actually does is promote himself as someone who doubles the lifetime value of a customer after buying a core sale. It just so happens he started to work that model into swimming pools first and foremost. So he just called up swimming pool companies and said, hey, I can help you double the lifetime value of a customer. Even after they've bought, I can continue generating sales for you 3 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years after the initial sale. Would you like some help setting up that automation? Of course, they were desperate. They thought, yeah, we'd love to hear from that. So it was about going through those parts of the process and going through those initial setup procedures and thinking, well, what types of products do I want to work with? What types of customers do I work with? Personally, I work really, really well at selling initial splinter products to email customers. So I'm very good at generating sales from an email list that's had no sales previously. So therefore, I just have to think, okay, well, what types of businesses would benefit from that? Information marketing, service-based businesses, to help them spend their first $19 or $97 or $197 or whatever it is as a splinter product. And I could go further into that. I could say, okay, well, we only work with businesses that have a splinter product and want to sell it from their list, who have 1,000 people on their list. But we also only work with businesses that have a follow-on product to sell, like a course or some kind of subscription service program. So we're really good at that middle part, and that's helped us find an industry. But committing to that industry is far more important than discovering it. There's no such thing as this gold ore or gold vein that you're going to discover and come across that's magically going to have customers open up in front of you. It's a complete fallacy. Instead, you've got to commit to the niche that you're going after. And a lot of that kind of comes down to things like, do I know that this business is going to be profitable? For example, many businesses actually have such low margins that it's almost impossible for you to make profit from, because they don't have any more business that they want to give to you. They don't have any revenue that they're able to spend on you. Let me know if you are really struggling with finding a niche for your particular market. I highly recommend Stuart Walker's Niche Hackers website, which again, I'll link below as well. I've got a bunch of videos. In fact, I'll probably try and loop those at the end on finding a niche for your market. Remember, it's not about an industry. It's about finding a part of the process that you really enjoy. There's also a lot of other things that come into this, such as, not tying the results to the delivery. You don't have to build funnels to be a funnel builder. You could provide, if it's very low revenue businesses, and you know that you can help them, like personal trainers, for example, you could absolutely provide training or some kind of turnkey service. It doesn't have to be delivered through these $10,000 or $25,000 or $500,000 marketing funnels. There's a lot of different levels that you could go through to deliver those results. It doesn't have to be tied to a specific particular delivery vehicle. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, let me know in the comments below if this was useful, or if you're still struggling finding a niche, or if you have a niche. I'd love to know, because we want to build a bit of a partner program. So let me know what types of businesses you work with in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video. Keep building those funnels.